My name is Amanda Gillis, and my husband Anders and I have been going to Sojourn for about 9 years now. We have 5 daughters, and I always kind of stumble when people ask me how many kids I have. I have 4 daughters here, and one of them passed away about 7 years ago. My husband and I are both from Fairbanks, Alaska, and when we moved to Traverse City, we didn't know anybody. We didn't have any family here, and found ourselves, really drawn to Sojourn and the community there, and just the people and how genuine everybody was. And we got plugged in with a community group right away, and those people really became like family to us. So a few years after we had moved here, my oldest daughter was 3 and my twins were 1, and I was pregnant with our 4th daughter. And it was a very complicated pregnancy. It was a very hard pregnancy. She ended up being born at 24 weeks and 2 days, which is really, really early. Really early. Most babies don't survive when they're born that early. And she was born here in Traverse City, but immediately had to be rushed down to Grand Rapids, to the Helen DeVos Children's Hospital down there. And when I was in the hospital after she had been taken down with my husband via ambulance to Grand Rapids, I was talking with a friend, and they were saying, well, can we share this with people so that people know and people can pray for you? And I want to share this so that people know what happened. And at first I was just so resistant to let people in to this, into her life and into this hurt that I was experiencing. And I was very fearful of opening up and letting people in and just be a part of something that was so painful for us. But I decided to share. And I said, okay. And we made this Facebook page, and we shared updates, and it became this huge source of encouragement to us, to myself and my husband. And we let people in. And Elin was her name. And she spent 10 months in the hospital, in the NICU. And during those 10 months, we were so loved and cared for by our friends, by our community group, just by the body of believers around us, and experienced Christ's love in such a deep way through how we were cared for by people who really weren't afraid to enter in when it was so hard and it was so messy. And, that's something that I've really carried with me since this experience. And just, you don't have to have the right words. You don't have to say the right things. You don't have to make the best lasagna or anything like that. When people around you are hurting and walking through really hard things, just by being there, just by not being afraid of suffering, not being afraid of pain, not being afraid to enter into it when someone beside you is really hurting. It was easy to slip into well, why me? Why her? Why us? And watching other families have babies and be in the room next to us, and watching their babies thrive and get better and get stronger and bigger. And even something as simple as watching them do the car seat test, where they bring the car seat in and you get to put your baby in the car seat. That's hard. Our prayer the whole time was, God, bring her home. God, bring her home. We just want to bring her home. And toward the end of her life, it became clear in our hearts that, God was going to answer that prayer and he was going to bring her home. It just wasn't the home that we wanted here on earth, but she was going to go home. Yeah. I think to even just hear her talk would be amazing. When she was born, I heard her cry. She made a little sound when she was born. And that was it. She was intubated the rest of her life. And to get to hear her voice would be amazing. I think that when you walk through really hard things, whatever it is, and when you get really close to death and you see death, that's when you really come to terms with what you believe. And having had that with my daughter, I know what I believe, and I know where she is. And the hope and the peace that gives me, it's profound. And I know I'll see her again.